Good morning. Welcome everyone to meditation. And I thought what I would do is during the meditations begin with a book recommendation of something that has touched me over the years. Because I was contemplating the other evening on or reminiscing over different books that have really helped me in my journey. So of course there's the journey of meditation where we're learning to calm and quiet the mind. And that's one part of the spiritual journey. But for me, another part has been bringing new thoughts, new ideas, new perspectives into my mind. And as I've gone through life, different books have come into my life very synchronistically and have made a big difference. So I want to start to share some of those titles with you and a few snippets from them during our meditations. And one of the first that I kind of discovered on my own, because I had been raised Roman Catholic, went to a really beautiful grammar school, a great Jesuit high school, and so I was, presented with a lot of Christian literature that was, some of which I'll share with you at another program. But it was during high school that I discovered a great book, kind of on my own, my friend and I, and it's The Prophet, and it's by Kahlil Gibran. And if I remember my dates correctly, he lived in the 15th or 16th century in Persia. And it's a beautiful, beautiful writing. I wanted to share one passage as we go into our meditation. And the setting of The Prophet is that a very wise man who has lived just outside the town for his whole life. He lived up on a hilltop. And people would occasionally talk to him, and I think in the story, once a year, he would come down into the village, into the town, and talk to people. And now it's described that his ship has come in. So a ship has come into the harbor and is going to be taking him away. And so he's giving a final offering, a final teaching to the people. So the priestess who has overseen all of his time there, she's there, and then the crowd of townspeople gather up and they ask him various questions. And so I wanted to share this one as it's so relevant to our day-to-day life. And it says, "Then an old man, a keeper of an inn, said, 'Speak to us of eating and drinking.' And the prophet said, 'Would that you could live on the fragrance of the earth, and like an air plant be sustained by the light. But since you must kill to eat, and rob the newly born of its mother's milk to quench your thirst, let it then be an act of worship. And let your board stand an altar on which the pure and the innocent of forest and plain are sacrificed for that which is purer and still more innocent in man. When you kill a beast, say to him in your heart, by the same power that slays you, I too am slain, and I too shall be consumed. For the law that delivered you into my hand shall deliver me into a mightier hand. Your blood and my blood is not but the sap that feeds the tree of heaven. And when you crush an apple with your teeth, say to it in your heart, your seeds shall live in my body, and the buds of your tomorrow shall blossom in my heart, and your fragrance shall be my breath, and together we shall rejoice through all seasons. And in the autumn, When you gather the grapes of your vineyards for the winepress, say in your heart, I too am a vineyard, and my fruit shall be gathered for the winepress. And like new wine, I shall be kept in eternal vessels. And in winter, when you draw the wine, let there be in your heart a song for each cup. And let there be in the song a remembrance for the days, for the autumn days, and for the vineyard, for the vineyard, and for the winepress. And when you crush an apple with your teeth, say to it in your heart, your seeds shall live in my body, and the buds of your tomorrow shall blossom in my heart. So when we go deeper into our meditation, I'll bring back some of those ideas and imagery. So beginning with the physical body, if you need to release it all, you can do some shoulder rolls, loosen up the jaw. I'm going to go for a twist, low spine, mid spine, head and neck. Opening and closing your eyes wide a few times. And then letting your jaw relax, face relax, feel the skin melting. One of the first foundations of yoga, slow breath, slows your mind, quiets your thoughts, so that you can perceive clearly, think clearly. Nice, slow, deep, controlled breaths. Feeling your lungs expanding and releasing. Now becoming conscious of sensations. If your eyelids are closed, gazing into the back of your eyelids, looking for a sense of depth, sparkles of color, shifting patterns. Simultaneously become aware of your ears, the world of sound around you, feeling those impressions, not needing to label everything, just enjoy sensation, sound, texture of what you're touching, what's touching you. Sight, sound, and touch. Now let's bring in our imagination. In the last few meditations, we've been doing the chakras, the different energy systems. So choose one of the chakras and imagine that you're surrounded inside that energy center. If you're not familiar with the chakras, just choose a beautiful color or a beautiful sound or melody, a feeling. Just imagine that that's an egg of energy, an oval of energy surrounding you, protecting you. Random thoughts rise and fall. Feel how they're much different than sensation or different than active imagination. So focus in on the active imagination of being surrounded by beautiful energy, by the sensations of light and sound and touch. Let those fill your consciousness. In the first part of the passage, the prophet says, "Would that you could live on the fragrance of the earth, and like an air plant, be sustained by the light." So let's begin with that imagery of feel that at the subtle level, you're completely sustained by your incoming breath that fills your consciousness with light and energy. That your subtle existence is sustained by subtle energy. Feeling that prana, that life force all around you. Which sustains you, replenishes you, nourishes you. Then in the passage, he notes that most of us can't sustain ourselves just by this subtle energy of breath. And so we must eat, and to eat, we have to kill, whether it's an animal or a plant. And the sentiment that of communicating, of speaking to that which we're consuming, and acknowledging how in the big picture of the cycle of life, we're ultimately in the same position they are. We become consumed. We pass away. We go back to the earth. So feeling within yourself that deep reality and possibly having an inner conversation with all the food that you know is in your kitchen or that's around you, just acknowledging the interplay, interdependence. Your blood and my blood is not but the sap that feeds the same tree of heaven. And in speaking to the apple, your fragrance shall be my breath, and together we shall rejoice through all the seasons. Your seeds shall live in my body. For the last section of our meditation, either continuing with this subtle feeling of connection with all that you eat and take in to sustain you, or switching to the meditation of the observer, inwardly acknowledging that you at the deepest level are the observer, the witness of all the thoughts, of all the sensations, of all the imaginings, this deepest, deepest sense of self. Feel into that feeling of being the witness, the observer. Deep, slow, controlled breath. The feeling of your intrinsic connection with the environment, the food around you. And ultimately, that interdependence with the environment, with breath, with air, with water, all these elements that sustain our physical body, but simultaneously feeling deep within a part of you that observes the body, observes the environment. And as we transition out of the meditation, I encourage you to either continue your own meditation or transition to an activity where you can continue to absorb and assimilate the meditative feelings. Again, the book that I read from, and we'll read from for a couple meditations here, The Prophet by Kahlil, Kahlil, Gibran, Gibran. And so at the start of next meditation, if you do pick up the book and enjoy it or have read it before, you could let me know. It'd be fun to hear if you're enjoying it. And then with that, I'll sign off. But if anybody does not know where these videos live, we upload them each week at the end of the week to YouTube. Kat will do a quick little run through to show you where they are if you want to rewatch any of them or share them with others. But before that, thank you all for coming to meditation. All of our combined energy makes a difference. The light within me bows to and respects the light in each of you. Namaste.